Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I'm hoping you enjoyed the short, brief announcement from our attorney, Vincent Davis, who's made this podcast possible. May thanks go out to him. He is talking about a Zoom question answer this Saturday at 10 o'clock. And we encourage you all to attend and learn how to interact with your podcast. Learn how to fight CPS. He has all kinds of things that he can do. There's all kinds of things he can do. Now, this is a warm welcome because all of you are really frustrated or bad things are happening in your CPS case. I know there. I've been in CPS for 15 years. I've been fighting them. I've had my children trafficking. I've had my children alienated from us parents. I've even had one child stolen from us. Now, I'm a family man, a father of 6 children, 3 older ones and 3 younger ones. And the 3 younger ones were taken after many years of constant harassment. And they were taken me by a layperson who reported things were not true. In fact, the whole family reported things not true. My wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and her brother. Now, we've been married for 32 years, and apparently they never liked the idea of us being married because they never came to our wedding. Even the ones in California didn't show up at the wedding. So we knew how the family felt. Also, my wife was abused by her parents and should have been reported to child abuse. Yeah, she was abused a lot of times in growing up. And we learned a lot of this by watching the show. And I did not know that the lay people, my in-laws, were the ones making the complaints that were falsified. And it took them 5 years to finally get a detective to track me down and tell me I need to open my home. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I first wanted to tell you how you can interact with this podcast. This podcast, you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. The show tonight is Fight CPS, Stop Taking Our Children. And it's a little bit different than my morning podcast, but my morning podcast is Fight CPS, and of course, hang on to your children. I try to talk to people before they lose their children. Now, once your children are trafficked into foster care, it can be really terrible for you, and I really feel for you. Now, one way to interact with this podcast is by joining this room. And we already have somebody in this room, and welcome to the person in this room. They came in from one of my 7 groups out there, and I'm glad to see them here. Now, while you're in this room, you can use emojis such as thumbs up, hearts, smiley faces, and also you can send me stars. Further, you can subscribe to this podcast and get notifications by hitting the buttons below. And so I encourage you to do so. Now, after let's say that you've listened and taken notes, and you want to do something more with this podcast, you can text in comments or questions about your CPS case, about CPS. It is put up there because we need to pertain to CPS. There's a lot of topics we could talk about, but it's important we talk about CPS. Now, all I'm asking you to do is to show your first name, your city or county where the case was, and then the state. Now, I also have countries. Since it's international, I've had about 14 countries text into me. I welcome all people around the world that have trouble with the child protection system. Now, I call the child protection system, it's the agency of social services that the government mandates that they take care of our children for protection of abuse and neglect. Furthermore, they're supposed to help out families in need of food, of clothing, of shelter, of transportation, of education, of medical, and find a job. That's what they're supposed to do. And thirdly, they're supposed to do what's called family reunification. If they break the family apart and take the children, traffic them into foster care because they're in extreme danger, then they should be returned because the parents are the best parents to take care of the children. The parents are the best people to take care of their children. So besides you all in the United States, the countries, I'd love to hear, all you need is your name and then the city, the state or province in your country. Now, I have 14 countries so far that have come in from around the world. I have Bangladesh. I have New Delhi, India. I have a country of the Middle East. It was sent to me in Arabic. I don't read Arabic. And then in Arabic, then we go to the continent of Africa. And we have Liberia in the north on the west coast, along the coast, a small country. And then another small country in Central East Africa called Rwanda that went through a horrible nightmare in 1994 where 1 million people were murdered and slaughtered and killed, the civil rights they had there. And over 500,000 women were raped. Females were raped. Not only that, they tried to use men infected with AIDS to eliminate people. It was really very, very gross, but they recovered. And so it's a lot better than it is now. And then we go to Mozambique on the east coast, opposite Madagascar. And then we go down to South Africa on the west coast province of their province. And they've also commented in. Then we go up north to Europe. And we've had England, Scotland, Wales text a message in. They're part of the United Kingdom. Then I've had Denmark and Sweden. And then from Denmark and Sweden, we go across the pond to North America. And I've had several provinces in Canada that have texted a message in. I've had all 50 states text or call me. That's over 500 some people. From up north to the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota to Maine on the east, to Oregon, Washington on the west, down to California and Arizona, to Texas, to Mississippi, to Louisiana, to Florida. I've heard pretty much from every state over 500 people. And I've also heard from social workers, 3 of them, which is great because we get to hear the input. I had one social worker from Maryland that is a clinical psychiatrist, and that she told me how she did CPS and what they did, which is far different than it seems to be the most. And she was horrified to hear there's several bad incidents of CPS. Not all CPS is bad, but not all CPS is good. There seems to be a lot more bad cases because the CPS have become corrupt. They become rogue. They now have found the importance of money, and they use money in bonuses and incentives with the social workers. It's $1 trillion business now. I know in my case in Orange County, California, they're getting $20,000 per child per month. That's a lot of money. That's $60,000. If you had 100 families with 3 children, That'd be $6 million a month. And it doesn't take that much to take care of children. They exaggerate, they lie, there's no accountability. The money flows from the federal government to the state, no questions asked. It's not even accounted for. And then it flows from the state to the counties. And it goes into not only the social workers with the CPS, but it goes to the foster care system. And it's very, 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 very corrupt. And so I've also had Indian tribes. Now, they're the indigenous people, the first immigrants of North America were Indians that came across from Asia over to Alaska, indigenous people. The word India came from Christopher Columbus, who thought he was in the country of India with spices down the Caribbean. Today is Columbus's day that we celebrate. He did not discover America. The Native American Indians discovered America. They're the first immigrants. Then came the Viking. Then came the Americans, the Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, and then the Spaniards. All the people from Europe were immigrating over there and making meetings with everything. The only problem is the Native Americans here, the first Native Americans here, were pretty much obliterated and pretty much taken advantage of. I call anybody born here as a Native American. Yes, the Indians are the first immigrants, but I was born here and I'm from this country and I'm part Indian, by the way. I'm proud to be it. I'm Lakota Sioux. My great-great-grandmother was born and lived in the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. So we've had some tribes. We've had the Cherokee who were taken from their country or from the area of Florida and put into Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a lot of displaced Indian tribes. And then I've had also met some tribes in British Columbia, the indigenous, they're called the First Nation. And so I've had a mixture of that. So it's been quite interesting with the background of people, social workers, 3 of them. The first one I told you about. And the second one was a third-party social worker where she subbed herself out. And then the third one was a foster care mom where she wasn't interested in adoption, which is strange because most of the people with foster care want to do so. So when you text in, try to tell me about your case. Tell me about how your family's made up of. Are you husband, wife? Are you boyfriend, girlfriend? Are you lovers? Are you a partnership? And how about the children? How old are the children and what the sexes are? And what were the allegations? More than abuse and neglect? What were the details? And then how were the children taken? Did you give them up? Did they come and take them? I'd like to know how they got a hold of your children. And then also, where you at on your case? So if you can tell me all that, we don't have to play ping pong back and forth. So try to be complete with your case. So that's the second way. A third way is to be a guest on my podcast. And I'd love to have you as a guest. Every night I look forward to having a guest because I like to work with them and welcome them. Now, to be a guest, all you have to do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace, and she'll work with you to get onto the podcast. Now, you need to write her with her email. Her email is up on the screen right there, but it's grace@vincentwdavis.com, grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she will take care of getting you on the podcast. She's going to send you a link to StreamYard, which is the application we use when we broadcast on YouTube. And I'm on 14 times a week, twice a day, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. I haven't missed a day yet. And I've started this back in October. And I do at a show at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, for 1 hour, and then I do an evening show at 7 o'clock Pacific time for 1 hour. And so that's 2 shows a night. Now I do a show early on Sunday because that's my day that I go to church, and I want to go to church. So I move my time up to 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday for an hour. 8 to 9, I do my show from 8 to 9 on Sunday. So to get on the podcast, you go right to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. You say, I want to be on Bob's Monday evening show, or Bob's Sunday morning show, or Bob's Friday evening show, or Bob's Wednesday morning show. That's all you do, is morning or evening. Now there's one other date on Friday, which is, this is the high school football. It's Friday Night Lights. I do have a football game that I go to on Friday night at 7 o'clock. So I try to do my show a couple hours earlier. As it gets closer, I'll give you the exact time. Welcome, Natalie. I'm so glad you came into my podcast. Natalie is a single mother from West Hollywood that comes to visit and helps me with my podcast, helps calls in and talks about topics. She has some very interesting topics. And one thing that she brought up that I thought was brilliant after I understood it was that there's a housing area in the San Bernardino County, and Amazon, the big retailer, has trying to buy up the homes from the homeowners that own the homes. The problem being is that most of the people that are in the homes are renters, they're Latinos, and they don't have much money. And so when they buy the home, they give a fair price, but the landlords don't help out the renters, and they're stuck with no place to live. And so a lot of them are becoming homeless, which is affecting their children. So that was an interesting concept. The same problem is happening with another one of my people in my room. Her name is Faye. She's in Richmond, Kentucky. And she too has a situation where the landlord has sold a home, didn't even tell her, and after 14 years, she has to move out. And that's really hard for anybody to move out because there's deposits. I mean, even that San Bernardino way out in the boonies there, you still have to come up with a $3,000 deposit. And you got to have a job to pay $3,000 a month for rent. So it's really kind of hard. It's a good concept, Natalie, and I want to thank you for bringing that to our attention. And so she's always good about bringing up things and stuff. So Natalie is a single mother, and she has 2 children, and she's been gone through the ringer. She was accused of being mentally unstable, and they locked her up for 72 hours. She lost both her children, and she wasn't unstable. Unfortunate chain of events happened that wasn't her fault, and she still wants to see her son and her daughter there. Faye, who's brought up in the social system, and she was a foster kid in and out 5 times. She was abused, molested, sexually trafficked, raped, and all the things you can imagine. She survived. I mean, she was tortured by walking bare feet on rocks. But she got a high school education, and then she got a college degree in nursing. She's a registered nurse, and she's a good woman. Unfortunately, because of her background in the child protection system, they're using that against her. And when she had her 2 children, she had to choose between her special needs son and her daughter, and she picked her son. And right now her son is with her, but she's trying to get guardianship because he needs her help. He cannot be by himself. Her daughter was taken from her heart. She didn't know, how can you be a good mother with your son and not be a good mother with your daughter? That's cruel how the child protection system works in Kentucky. They're one of the worst states, police-wise and the social worker-wise. And they have a ritual where parents lose their children, they're adopted out, and they have one final meeting with their children. They're supposed to say goodbye. How can you tell goodbye to the child you raised and you born? Unfortunately, most of you have hiccups. And it's not because of your fault, it's because the way the income has been lately. Things in the store are grossly expensive. They're marked up and marked up. I saw milk today for $8 a gallon. It used to be $2.45 a gallon a couple months ago. Eggs now are $5 or $6 a carton of eggs. Orange juice is $6, $7 a gallon. It's really a shame how much the people have taken advantage and escalated the prices of everything. So we are struggling that. We're also struggling that. So yes, Natalie says try dry milk. Yes, I know, but it's hard to drink dry milk. I've tried it and everything like that. It's wrong. There should be fair, reasonable prices to everybody. 4 years ago, the cost of living isn't what it is now. And we had gas, and we had a gas line being built from Canada in the United States. As soon as the new administration took over, that gas line was terminated. We had a wall up. We were controlling the immigration. But as soon as the new administration took over, the administration opened the borders. And the vice president was in charge, the czar of the border. And here she is now saying she made her trip. Oh, I got great ideas to do anything, and it was the candidate running against her that canceled the ideas. No, he didn't cancel it. They had it in place. They forget the very important details. And so right now the candidates are just bad mashing each other. We have a child protection agency that's run amok, that's corrupt, and we need them to help us to get Congress to investigate the child protection system. It's the worst experience you can imagine. It's the worst experience to imagine. Right, Natalie. I know the imitation is not good. Now you use electric. Electric is more money than gas, Natalie. So that doesn't save you any money. Electric has really gone up. It's so phenomenally expensive now where I live. And it's like I have to get another career job. I'm looking for another career job. So I want to thank you all, for understanding that the child protection system is corrupt. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. You heard my attorney talk about a Zoom meeting on Saturday. He is the real deal. And his name is Vincent W. Davis. And again, I want to thank him for what he does. Like my show producer, Grace, she does remarkable, great things there too. Now, we're talking about being our guest. Once she gets email, she'll give the link. Don't lose the link. It'll get you on the StreamYard. If you get knocked off, that link is still good for the life of that show. So don't lose the link. Also, she'll tell you what to do and not to do as a guest on the podcast, like no food, eating, or smoking. We do not use the names of children, attorneys, not attorneys, judges, or social workers. That's judges, children, and social workers. We don't use the names there. And she will tell you how to set it up, make sure your sound's right. Try to use a computer. A phone is okay if you don't have a computer. So that's the third way. Now, the fourth way to interact with this podcast is to call into the show. Now, you can call into the show at my office number. I posted it. It's 626-698-0990. That's the direct line to my phone, and I will answer it. I use Vonage, which is a phone application on my phone. Now, the texting on Vonage is broken, either sending out or coming in. We're still working on that. But you can call in on Vonage. I know it works. And I'm right now So call in, and I will talk during my show hours. And we got someone right now that's doing the call in. That's great. Welcome to my live podcast. This is Bob Pace. How can I help you?
Hi. So we were, sorry, my kids were just taken by CPS from their school. Like, they never told us what was going on or nothing. I haven't even been reached out by them.
Wow. That's against the law. That's against the civil rights. They have to have a court order to take your kids from school.
Yeah, that's what I read online too, but they never.
Can you tell me what city and state you're from?
We live in Redding, California.
Okay, what county is that?
Shasta County.
Okay. I know Shasta County. It's a fairly bad agency, so I know that what you're going through is kind of a shocker. Have you been told the allegations yet?
No, they just said there was some accusations. They haven't said what they were. Like I said, they haven't even reached out to me. My husband went to pick up the kids from school because I was actually at court. But then he called me and was like, "Hey, CPS is taking the kids."
Now, what were you at court for? What were you at court for?
For custody.
Okay, so you and your husband are going through a divorce?
No. It was custody for my kids. With my current husband, he has 4 kids. I have 2 kids, so we're a blended family. I was at court with my ex-husband over custody of my children.
Okay, so 2 of the kids have different fathers. The other 4 kids are with your current husband.
Yes.
Now, how can you be married if you're still married with your first husband?
We were already divorced. We got divorced. The divorce went through in 2020.
Okay, and what was the arrangement? What was the arrangement of the 2 kids?
He's supposed to have them 3 weekends per month and every other week during the summer.
Okay, and was that being done?
The rest of the time.
Was that being done?
I'm sorry.
Was that being done?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so you got married. Now, during your marriage, did you with his kids, the 4 kids, did you get joint custody when you got married with those 4 kids?
So they're all my stepkids. We have primary custody of 2 of them, and we have 50-50 of the other 2. There's 2 different moms there.
Okay, so your new husband has had 2 kids by another woman, and then she's had the other 2 kids by 2 different women, so there's been 3 moms?
Correct, yeah.
Wow, this is a complicated...
2 different moms for him, for his 4.
Right.
I have my 2.
So you guys don't have any children together?
No, we don't.
And then when you did your custody arrangements, what were the orders of the court with all 6 children?
It's different for each 2 set. Like, my 2 kids, like I said, they go to their dad's 3 weekends per month and every other week during the summer. I have them for school and the 1 or 2 weekends, depending on how many weekends per month there are. He has his 2 older kids. Primarily, they're here for school, and every other weekend they go to their moms. And then they were at their moms for the whole summer, except for the last 2 weeks. And then his youngest 2, we have, it's 50-50. We have them 2 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 5 days off. So it's split pretty evenly with the mom.
Okay. So why do you think that CPS wanted to interview? Did they interview all 4 children or just the did he interview all 6 children, or what? Who did they interview?
Hi.
Hi, this is my husband. He's here with me. He's
Glad
the
to
one that
meet you.
went
Glad to
pick
meet
up
you,
the kids.
sir. Yeah, I understand.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, I don't believe that they interviewed any of the children other than my oldest son, Christian Jr. And that was, I want to say they interviewed him, I want to say a few weeks, or well, probably a couple months ago now. Nothing came of it because I have a court-appointed attorney for my 2 oldest children with my ex-wife in Nevada.
Why do you have a court-appointed attorney with your ex-wife if the custody arrangements have already been worked out?
Because that was part of the initial, like when we started going through court. So my ex-wife back in 2020, she kept my children. She lives in Nevada. She kept my children from me for a year.
Well,
So
did you guys
when we
get
finally got
divorced
into
right
court-
away? Did you get divorced right away?
Yeah, we got divorced in 2018 is when our divorce was finalized. And then when it came, then I got primary custody of them in 2022 because my son and daughter were having problems in Nevada.
Now, can you
So,
kind of tell
Nevada-
me the sex of the children and the ages so I understand all 6 children?
Yes. So my oldest daughter is Aurora. She's 11 years old. She'll be 12 in November. I have my 10-year-old son, Christian Jr., and then I have my wife's stepson, Eric Troutner, her son, my stepson, Eric Troutner, who's 9. And then I have my stepdaughter, Emma, who is 7. And then I have my son, Jonathan, who is 6. And then my son, Nicodemus, who is 4.
Okay. Now, okay, say those children one more time again. There's just so many of them. I gotta recognize. How old is the
Sorry, I
oldest?
know.
How old is the oldest?
11. She'll be 12 in like.
Okay,
3
so
weeks.
you have a daughter that's 11, and who's next in line?
My son, Christian, is 10.
Okay, and then below the 10, who's next?
Eric is 9.
Try not to use their names. Just use the age.
Sorry.
Okay. So
Okay.
we have a 9, a 10, 11. Go on.
And then a girl that's 7.
Okay. And so that's 4. Now, how
And then
about the other 2?
And then I have a boy that's 6 and
Okay.
a boy that's 4.
All right. Now, the boy that's 4, what mother is he with? A different mom? I mean, do you have 3 different mothers?
I have 2 different mothers with my children.
Okay. You're 4 children.
Yes.
Okay. So, what was the divorce decree when you divorced? Now, did you divorce all 3 mothers, or how did you resolve this?
Yeah. Well, so I've been married 3 times now because I'm married to my current wife. My other 2 ex-wives, we were divorced in 2021 and 2018. My 2 youngest sons, the 6 and 4-year-old, their mother and I have a very good working relationship.
Okay.
That's the one I share 50-50 with, and they're with their mom, so they weren't took by CPS.
Okay. Now, what about the next 2 children?
The next 2 children are my stepchildren, and those are the ones that my wife had. That's the
Okay.
9-year-old and the 7-year-old.
Now, what about
And they
what
were
about the
took-
father of the 9-year-old and the 7-year-old? What about the father, the biological father?
That's my wife's ex-husband.
Was that
and
divorce?
was the person-
Was that divorce final?
Yeah, that divorce was finalized.
So what are you in court
And
for that you have a court-appointed attorney? Because are you in the child protection?
Well, we're in court. So my wife was in court because her ex-husband sent some inappropriate pictures to his 17-year-old daughter across the country. She reached out to my wife, and when we found that out, we went back to court for custody of the 7 and 9-year-old.
Okay.
And that's what she was in court today for.
Okay.
My oldest, the 10 and 11-year-old, we were in court because my ex-wife, when she had the children over the summer, she refused to give our son his medication because he suffers from ADHD and he's on the spectrum for autism. So to help him with school, we had to get him on medication, and she didn't give it to him all summer. So that's why I ended up back in court, because previously the court, when we went through in 2022 and I got primary custody of my 10 and 11-year-old, the court appointed an attorney through that process for the kids. That way they could ask the kids questions and things like that and represent them is what the mediator thought would be in the best interest of the children. And after 2 years of her representing my children, she agreed with the judge and everybody that the kids should be placed with me as the primary parent. And then, so a few weeks ago, we had some local police officers show up at our door, and they said that there had been accusations of child abuse, and they were there to do a welfare check. They came in our house, they talked to all the kids, looked through the whole house. They said everything seemed fine, and when they talked to the children, they were like, "Yeah, you got, they're all taken care of."
Why did you allow them in the house?
Well, because they kind of were forceful about it. They're like, "Hey, let us come and take a look at the house." And I was like, "Well, okay." I didn't have anything to hide. I wanted them,
Understood. But do you know the law that no one can enter your house without permission, or that the children are in extreme danger, or there's a court warrant?
I understand that, but I wasn't thinking. I thought just best to let them come in.
I understood.
I had nothing to hide.
I understand.
So I felt like I was making the right call because I didn't want them to think I had something to hide. So, and with that being said, they told us that they thought everything was fine. They left. We haven't heard anything. And then, like my wife was explaining, I went to go pick up the children today when I got off work, and there was an officer at the school saying, "Hey, there's accusations. CPS is coming to get your kids." They brought up the reunification process, and I was like, whoa, because with my, and I'm sorry for the long story with all the complications, just first off, my ex-wife that I have a really good relationship with in town, me and her back in 2020 had to go through the reunification process with my 6 and 4-year-old. But back then, they were 1 and a newborn child, and so we had to go through all of that. That's why when the officer today brought up reunification, I was like, "Hey, whoa!" I don't know what's going on. I haven't talked to CPS. Nobody's reached out to me. And he was like, "Well, this is happening." And I'm like,
well, here's my question: is that what police agency is involved in Shasta, California?
Well, there's the Shasta County Sheriff, but the ones that we've dealt with is the Redding Police Department.
So they're the ones that and what's the county again for the
Shasta County.
Okay. It just seems like to me they're taking a very active role, like they work for CPS, because police are not supposed to do that.
That's kind of how I felt, especially when the officer kept telling me it was accusation. Because with my 10-year-old, we ran into problems before where he's made up stories or accusations about things going on, and then come back on his own and been like, "Oh, I'm just making this up." And that's including with his mom in Nevada. Even he had done this before. And that's all been documented. I mean, CPS, because they've come out to the house before, did an investigation, talked to the kids, did everything. They're like, "This is a nothing burger. We're closing the case."
What is what is your email, by the way?
My email is lowercase o07, and then it's Naruto, Naruto @hotmail.com.
Hold on. Okay, it's 097 NAR 0907.
No, there's no 9. It's just 007. Sorry.
007 NARUTO @hotmail.com. Okay. And your name again?
It's Chris.
Okay. And your wife's name?
Is Sarah.
Okay. Okay. The reason why I'm bringing that up is that my attorney wants to help you, and they're going to contact you and offer you 15-minute time to talk to my attorney at no charge and see how he can help you.
Okay.
He's up in Northern California with a case, and so he's trying to do that. Now, did there any witnesses when the kids were interviewed, or were they interviewed?
I don't know. Like, they literally chased me off and were like, "Hey, CPS, you can't take the kids. CPS is coming to get the kids. We'll contact you later."
What is your last name, Chris?
It's Murad, Murad.
So this involves 6 children.
Yes, sir.
And 3 marriages.
Yeah.
So you're divorced from the first 2.
Yes, sir.
And you're still working on the custody of the children?
Yes, we were, like, I have, with the older 2, I have court next week, and my wife, as she stated, was in court today dealing with the 9 and 7-year-old.
With the younger 2.
Okay, so what I've done is that I've offered you a consultation with our top attorney, Mr. Davis, You'll have a 15-minute consultation through Zoom, and he will try to help you and talk about your case because it seems like a real complicated case. Now,
Okay.
I'm not an attorney, but I do know the laws, and I have been through CPS myself, so I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through.
Well, we appreciate that. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, it caught us out of left field.
Well, they would too, because first of all, there's a lot of they've violated your constitutional civil rights. They cannot interview children without a witness. They have to notify you up front that they're interviewing your children. They can't take your children unless they have a court order, a warrant. And
yeah,
it seems like the Renington police, first of all, the Shasta County CPS should be using the Shasta sheriffs, not the Renington police. It seems like a lackadaily ploy by the CPS there in Shasta to use the Renington police. The Renington police do not normally get involved in CPS cases. Only the sheriffs do in different parts of the county, like LA County sheriffs, Orange County sheriffs. They're the ones that help out the CPS. The LAPD or the different cities in Orange County don't. So there's a lot of mistakes made by a lot of individuals. But court-appointed attorneys isn't the way to go. I don't know if you've been told that a court-appointed attorney only has experience in criminal law, not dependency law. You're in the dependency law, the family juvenile dependency law. It's a whole different area of law. You're dealing with an agency that's very corrupt. They're very rogue. They will cheat. They will lie to you. They'll build you up, and they will retaliate against you. They're really bad. And so I'm sure when Mr. Davis talks to you, he'll explain to you all that and how to navigate. Because with a court-appointed attorney, they're not going to really fight for your case. They don't want to. They're not paid. And they have a caseload of 30 more clients. So they're not going to have time to fight for your case. So
that's all understandable because that's, again, like I said, I dealt with CPS back in 2020, and that's how it felt, where my ex-wife, they released my children to her after 6 months. They kept trying to make me to admit to crimes I never committed and all these things. It made me jump through hoops for 18 months before I got non-supervised visitations with my children. And then 2 weeks later, my ex-wife gave me half custody of the kids.
Well, here's the problem. The CPS has got wind that you only can afford a court-appointed attorney. So they're going to take advantage of the situation. What you need to tell them is that you have a real attorney and that you want your attorney present. And you need to get one. I know they're expensive. But right now, I have an attorney in my law firm that wants to talk to you. And this is something new that he's doing. He's reaching out with a Saturday Zoom questions and answers to help out people. Right now, I offer a 30-minute conference with him for $60, and you're getting 15 for nothing. And so this is really good that you called in. I appreciate you doing that from Shasta County.
We appreciate you. I literally was just Googling, and I saw a video that you had posted 3 months ago.
Yeah. There's a lot I do. Watch my videos. Watch my videos in entirety. I talk about the 5 rules to follow fighting CPS. I talk about the court-appointed attorney and the real attorney. I talk about how bad social workers are, what they do, and how corrupt they are. I talk about questions and answers with Course Digest. I have over 75 topics I talk about, like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, which may not pertain to you, but I reach out to all kinds of people. I talk to 14 different countries, so I have really a worldwide following, and how bad CPS is not only local but worldwide is our problem.
Well, thank you. I just want to say God bless you and thank you for
this is the problem is there are a lot of parents like yourself, like myself. Unfortunately, in 2010, I'd lost my job at the age of 60. I'd already worked for 45 years, and it was hard for me losing the job. But my in-laws took advantage of me, no job, and started calling into CPS from Ohio to California and making up stories. And this went on for 5 years. And finally, they one day had me go to my home and try to find something. They had code enforcement people, 2 of them, 5 firemen, 3 social workers, 2 uniformed policemen, and then a detective, all insisting. I did not know the law that they cannot enter your home. You don't have to talk to police or social workers. You don't have to surrender your children. There's a lot of laws you don't know, and that's why they take advantage of you. They use the police as intimidators. CPS says when a policeman's there, that people expect the police to follow. I tell people you have to be arrested before they can take your children or anything like that. They're going to try to make up stories like you're mentally ill and you can't take care of the children. They're going to try to put you in 72 hours. There's a lot of bad things they do, and I'm trying to tell you, it's a $1 trillion business that they're doing, and it's so bad. It's like open heart surgery. You need a professional, and Vincent Davis has 35 years as a child protection. As a CPS fighter. He's a pit bull, and he's also done civil lawsuits, both in state and federal courts, and won millions of dollars. He's gotten children back. He also, is not afraid. And I know that Bakersfield doesn't like him, and I know that he has a case in Oklahoma. He does all the states, so he wants to help out everybody. He's the real deal. He's a trial attorney. And he's been doing this for 35 years. So you can't go wrong with him. And if you can work out and afford him, yeah, I know that's what you need. But it's very important that you see for several things with attorney. One, you look for an attorney that has juvenile dependency family law, juvenile family dependency law. Second thing you look for, have they ever fought CPS and won money from fighting a civil lawsuit? The answer to those questions is yes, you're on the road to getting a good attorney. The third thing is, have they ever fought CPS and got the children back? And he has. So those are what you look for in an attorney. A court-appointed attorney will be nothing. It'd be a waste of time. Pro bono that means you fight on your own. You're going to be slapped around by the agency. The judges, the social workers, and the attorneys are all in cahoots. They play golf together. They have lunch together. The courtrooms aren't fair at all. So you're going to be really taken to the cleaners. And they will lead you on. They'll get you to sign a plan. Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're all just buddies.
When you go in a CPS case down here in Orange County, you can't even go in the courtroom. You have to sit in the hallway. And the court attorneys are so busy, court-appointed attorneys, that they have a caseload of 30 more clients. They don't have time for your case. Also, the children will have a court-appointed attorney. Everybody has a court-appointed attorney. Well, that's a husband and a wife, and you got 6 children. That's 8 attorneys just alone for your family. And they're all going to be in cahoots. So you're going to go nowhere. So, when Vincent Davis contacts you and offers you a 15-minute Zoom meeting for no charge, then that would be great. That's something new I'm trying. I'm always trying to be creative in a room. And you're one of the first people in there, because normally I offer a 30-minute consultation with Mr. Davis for $60. So,
well, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, a couple other things I want to.
Will you look for an email from him, or?
Yeah, you should get something from him, from my show producer. She's going to make the arrangement. Her name is Grace, and her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. You need to write that down. You get paper and pencil?
Yeah.
got one
I
right
got
now.
it. Grace at, you said Vincent W.
Davis.com.
Davis.
So if you haven't heard from her, give her an email and say that you were the couple on Bob's Pace's podcast and that you were offered a 15-minute Zoom consultation, 15 minutes at no charge. Okay. And so can I ask you a couple other questions? What is the status of the children? Where are all 6 children? Whose hands are they in?
We have no idea, sir. I've called CPS 3 times today. They couldn't. Nobody called me back. Nobody got a hold of me. We have no idea where our children are at this moment. I know where the 2 youngest are with their mother, but the other 4, nothing. CPS didn't reach out to us.
Okay. Well, document everything that you do. Make sure you get yourself an 8.5 by 11-inch notebook. That's my rule number 2. And in that notebook, stuff it full of notebook paper. Get yourself subject dividers. And one of the most important order of business is to itemize a timeline. It's an incident track of all the incidents. What you do is you start off with the date, the time, the location, and the people involved. You write that on the first line. The next line, you write what the incident is about. And it could be with the police, the school, the children, family, friends, the CPS, whatever it is. Any incident relating to your case, you write that down. And there's a 1-sentence summary. And then the third line is the outcome. And it can be abbreviated, something you can remember, because in 8 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're not going to remember everything. So that incident log, the timeline, is something that you should keep track of. And you skip a couple lines, put the next one, and so forth. If you don't have the outcome, it may take you a while to get the outcome. But you want to document everything and keep it in one place. And, put all your, if you have to take parenting classes, put all your certificates there. Put an index in front, the list of parenting classes that you completed. If you have to do programs like domestic violence or anger management or those kinds of programs, alcohol or drug-related programs, put the certificates in another section. Put all your court papers in another section. And you want to put them in a range of date so that each court paper is done. So you organize that notebook so it works for you. So if you have an attorney like Vincent Davis, everybody else, you can find things real readily. It's really important to be organized because I wasn't. I wrote things on Post-it notes. I wrote things on envelopes. I didn't have an instant log. I was a complete failure in that department. So,
Thank you for the advice.
I just really, that's my rule number 2. My rule number 1, of course, is to hire an attorney. And maybe after you get talking to Vincent, you can work something out for that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
And you also need to go to the clerk, the court clerk, and get copies of all your court documents. She can provide it. If you're low income, it's no charge. You have to fill out a form for low income. And so you need to have a copy of all your court papers, the ones that were entered in the courtroom. But I have to end my podcast right now because we're close to the hour ending right here. But it's so nice to talk to both of you. And you sound really pleasant people that would like to continue with your life. Unfortunately, you had a hiccup twice, and your wife has another. Was she married once before?
She was once before.
Okay, yes. So both of you had some hiccups in life. It's not the end of the world. You've moved on with your life, but you have your children that you care about, and you're good parents because you think of your family as 6. And luckily, 2 of the children are with your first wife, and that has a workable relationship. It's important that the biological kids are with their parents. And so maybe you guys will have a family together or something. But keep in touch. Come to my shows. I'm on twice a day. And I want to thank Natalie for coming in and helping out with the show and talking what she's talking about. I also Want to thank you all for opening up your case in Shasta, California, and thank for all the emojis, all the hearts and the thumbs up and the stars and the smiley faces. They're nice to have. So I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I look forward to all of you. If any of you want to be on guest my show, please contact Grace at vincentwdavis.com. There'll be a brief message after I sign off. God bless you and keep fighting for your kids.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.